My girlfriend said, "I didn't care enough," I replied. "Then neither did I." Then I packed quietly, left at midnight, canceled the vacation, blocked her everywhere, hired movers for Tuesday, and I just watched as she tried to rewrite the ending. Welcome back to Reddit Tales. Today's story is about a man who comes home early, finds his girlfriend cheating, and chooses silence over a fight. As you listen, ask yourself where you would draw the line and what you would do next. If you enjoy these stories, please subscribe and hit like. And if you have your own story, send it in. My contact info is in the description. The key was under the mat, right where I told her it would be. My flight home from a work conference in Denver had been canceled, then brought back, which meant I landed at midnight instead of 4 p.m. I texted Maya from the airport. No reply. It was Friday night, so I didn't overthink it. She was probably out with her friends, phone lost in some shiny little bag. All I wanted was my bed. The apartment was quiet when I stepped in. It felt good after 3 days of forced networking and fake laughs. I rolled my suitcase inside and let it thud on the floor. The sound echoed in the stillness. Then I saw the coffee table. 2 wine glasses. One had a lipstick smear the color of crushed berries, her color. A men's leather jacket was draped over the back of her reading chair, not my jacket. That moment did something strange to me, not anger, not panic. Just a cold, steady hum in my chest, like a machine turning on. I walked down the hall. Our bedroom door was slightly open. The scene was a cliché, and that somehow made it worse. Maya asleep with her back to me and a man beside her, his arm across her waist. On the floor, a condom wrapper caught the streetlight through the blinds. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. Sometimes the body decides before the mind does. Mine chose stillness. I backed out, went to the living room, and sat on the couch beside the dirty glasses. I didn't turn on a light, I just sat there and waited. This is where some people start bargaining with reality. I just watched the clock move. About an hour later, I heard footsteps. Bathroom light on, then off. A guy walked out of the hall, shirtless, and froze when he saw me. He was younger than me. He had that carefully kept stubble that says, "I'm trying hard to look like I'm not trying." He didn't speak. He just turned fast, went back down the hall, and I heard whispering, a frantic hiss of voices. Then Maya came out. She wore her silk robe tied tight. Her face was panic at first, then it hardened into something else. Defiance, like she could push back the truth by acting like it wasn't a big deal. The guy slipped out of the bedroom, grabbed his jacket and shoes, and hurried past me without eye contact. The front door clicked shut behind him. The silence returned, heavier than before. "How long?" I asked. My voice didn't even sound like mine. It was calm and flat. Maya blinked like she hadn't expected calm. "Leo, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think." I kept my eyes on her. "How long, Maya?" She crossed her arms like she was cold. "A few times, it doesn't mean anything." "A few times," I repeated. She rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. 3 months, okay, 3 months, but it's not 3 months. I'd been working late on a big project, the kind that decides budgets and jobs. She used to tease me about my boring spreadsheets and kiss my forehead like it was cute. Now I saw those little moments differently, not affection, dismissal. "Why?" I asked. One word. She threw her hands up. "Because you're here, but you're not here. You're always in your head. Jake is present. He's exciting." There it was, the script, the blame shift. This is a red flag people miss all the time. Cheating turns into a complaint review like it's customer service. "So this is my fault," I said. "I didn't say that," she snapped instantly. "God, you always do this. You twist things so I'm the villain." She paced in her robe. "It just happened. I didn't plan it." I watched her like I didn't know her. I saw the woman I moved cities for. The one whose dad I drove to chemo every week for a month. The one I pictured a future with. And I also saw a stranger doing a performance she had probably practiced in her head. "Are you in love with him?" I asked. Her face flickered. "What? No, it's just different." "Do you want to be with him?" She hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe it's new. I need to figure it out." I nodded slowly, like I was listening to a weather report. "Okay," I said. Her eyebrows lifted. "Okay, what's okay?" "You should figure it out." That confused her more than anger would have, like I had skipped a page in the argument she prepared. I stood up and walked toward the bedroom. "The bedroom," she said, sharp. "Where are you going?" I didn't answer. I went to the closet and pulled a duffel bag from the top shelf. Then I opened my dresser. Socks, boxers, t-shirts, jeans I packed without folding, not because I was trying to make a point, because my body had switched to task mode. "What are you doing?" she said, following me. Her voice was rising. "Stop it." I went into the bathroom. Toothbrush, razor, deodorant, contact lens case. I dropped them into the toiletry bag. "Stop this right now," she said. "Are you seriously packing a bag? You're going to leave over this." I unzipped my suitcase in the hallway, the same one I'd used for the conference. I started moving my work clothes back into it. Dress, shoes, portfolio, laptop, charger. "Leo," she said, "talk to me." "It was just sex," she added, like that was supposed to calm me down. "You're being ridiculous." That word, ridiculous, was meant to shrink my pain into something silly. I turned and looked at her. The defiance was still there, but it was cracking at the edges. Under it was fear, because she couldn't control the story if I didn't argue back. "Just say something," she shouted. I took a slow breath. The hum in my chest had turned into one clear command. "Do not engage, just go." "I need to understand something," I said, still calm. "You're saying you didn't intend to hurt me." "No," she said fast. "Of course I didn't, God." Then she let out a little laugh, not happy, not kind, a half scoff, like the whole thing was annoying, and she said, "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't care enough not to." There are sentences that end things, not with drama, with clarity. That one did it. Not because it was the cruelest thing she could say, but because it wasn't even cruel, it was casual, like she was shrugging at spilled coffee. My love, my trust, our years together. They weren't worth the smallest effort of caring enough to protect them. Something settled inside me. Final, like a bolt sliding into place. I didn't yell. I didn't insult her. I didn't beg for an explanation. I zipped my suitcase shut. The sound was sharp in the quiet. I lifted it, put my laptop bag on my shoulder, walked toward the front door. Her eyes widened. Real fear now. She stepped in front of me. "Wait. You're actually leaving, just like that. Where will you go?" I looked at her, and it was strange, but I didn't feel love anymore. I felt like I was looking at a person I used to know. The woman I loved was gone. This was just the body she left behind. "I didn't mean to leave you," I said, voice low, steady. "I just don't care enough not to." Her face went pale. The last bit of color drained out. Her lips parted, but no sound came. I stepped around her, gentle but unstoppable. I opened the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't look back. It clicked shut behind me, soft and final, like a lid closing on something already dead. I booked the cheapest hotel near the airport. The room smelled like citrus cleaner and emptiness. Designed for people who come and go and leave no trace. I sat on the edge of the stiff bed with my suitcase and laptop bag beside me, like loyal dogs that followed me out. The hum in my chest faded into a quiet static. I felt nothing. Not rage, not sadness. Just a hollow absence, like something had been removed and I was watching the empty space. I didn't cry. I just existed. At 200 a.m., I ordered a club sandwich and ate it without tasting it. I watched infomercials until the sun came up, cheerful voices selling miracle blenders while my old life ended. When morning came, the memories tried to break through, not the cute ones. My mind blocked those like it knew they would hurt too much. Instead, it gave me something sharp. 2 years earlier, Maya crying, holding a positive pregnancy test. It wasn't planned, we were scared. I held her and told her we would figure it out. A week later, a miscarriage. She was wrecked. I took 2 weeks off work. I cooked. I cleaned. I sat with her in the bathroom while she cried on the floor. I answered her family's calls. I held her through nightmares. When she finally started to come back to herself, she squeezed my hand and whispered, "I don't know what I would have done without you." I let that sentence become my role. Protector, foundation, the one who stayed. And now, sitting in a sterile hotel room, I saw the irony clearly. The one who stayed is often treated like background furniture, useful until someone wants a different kind of excitement. By late morning, the static turned into something else. Cold, practical clarity. Grief felt like a luxury. This was a logistical problem now. My phone buzzed with messages from Maya. "Where are you? This is insane. Come home so we can talk like adults." Leo, answer me. "You're really going to ghost me after everything? Fine, be a child." I didn't respond. I opened my banking app. I transferred my half of the last month's bills out of our joint account into my personal account. I canceled the auto payment for an upcoming vacation I was planning as a surprise, Costa Rica, an anniversary trip. Canceling it felt like removing a weight I didn't know I was carrying. Then I wrote one text. I drafted it 3 times, stripping out every emotional hook she could grab. "My belongings will be collected from the apartment Tuesday afternoon. Your key will be left with Building Superintendent Lopez. Please remove anything you consider yours before then." Her reply came instantly. "Maya, WTF Leo, you're just giving up. You're not even going to fight for us. This is how little I meant to you." That message was almost funny in a dark way. She cheated, then accused me of not fighting. I set my phone face down. That was the last text of hers I ever read. Then I cleaned up the rest. I went through social media. Untagged myself, changed my status to single, unfollowed her, blocked her on everything. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even Spotify. It wasn't anger, it was hygiene. Then I messaged 3 mutual friends I trusted. "Just a heads up. Maya and I have split up. It was due to infidelity on her part. I don't want to discuss details, but I wanted you to hear it from me. I'm taking some space, but I value your friendship." A few replied with shock and support. A few were awkward. I thanked them and didn't engage much. This is the part nobody glamorizes. Healing often looks like quiet paperwork. Tuesday came. I hired a task service through an app. 2 polite strangers in matching polo shirts packed my clothes, books, records, and the chef's knives my dad gave me. They took everything to storage unit 317. Left the key with Super Lopez. It cost $389. It was the best money I've ever spent. The weeks after that were strange, peaceful, in a way that felt almost wrong. I stayed at the airport hotel a bit longer, then found a furnished sublet downtown. A minimalist box with a view of other buildings. Nothing sentimental, nothing shared. I went to work. I did my job. I came home. I started running along the river. The pounding of my feet on the pavement became a kind of meditation. The silence in my place changed too. It wasn't empty anymore. It was clean. 3 weeks later, Derek, one of the mutual friends, asked to meet for a beer. He looked uncomfortable the whole time, like he was holding something heavy and wanted permission to drop it. "So," he said after a sip, "you've really gone dark." "Just focusing," I said. "On what?" "On not focusing on the past." He nodded, then leaned in. "Look, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but since you're so calm. Things aren't great with Maya." I took a sip, said nothing. Silence makes people talk. "She moved Jake in like a week after you left," Derek said. "It was drama, and the guy is a mess, lost his bartending job, showing up drunk. Sarah said he's got a record, petty theft, disorderly conduct." I kept my face neutral. "And Maya," he added, "she's not the same. Posting all these new chapter pics, then deleting stuff. People saw them screaming in a parking lot. He threw takeout at her car." I felt something, but it wasn't satisfaction. It was distant pity, the kind you feel watching a stranger walk into an obvious trap. "Sounds unstable," I said. "Yeah," Derek said. "You dodged a bullet." I didn't agree or disagree. A bullet implies someone attacked you. This felt more like I stepped off a path that was already collapsing. That night, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Leo, it's Maya. I know you blocked me. Please, I made a huge mistake. Can we talk? I'm so sorry." The message sat on the screen, glowing in the dark. I felt nothing. No rush, no softness, no anger. Her apology was a pebble thrown into the ocean of my indifference. I didn't reply. I didn't even bother blocking the number right away. I just swiped the notification away and let the screen go dark, and I realized something. The silence wasn't a tactic. It was my new state. Her words entered my life and faded like smoke in a big open space. Over time, my life started to refill. Not with noise, but with substance. I signed up for a woodworking class at the community center, something I had always talked about doing. Maya used to call it a dusty old man hobby. The smell of sawdust, the focus it took to cut straight, the slow process of making something real. It calmed my mind. I reconnected with Ben, an old college friend I never liked. We started hiking on Sundays. The conversations were easy, comfortable pauses, no interrogation. I didn't talk about her. He didn't ask. Meanwhile, the old world kept burning without me. The updates came through the grapevine like people needed to confirm the wreck was real. 2 months after I left, someone posted a blurry video of Jake outside a downtown bar, shirtless and screaming, pinned to the hood of a police car. The caption was something like, "Dude tried to fight everyone." I scrolled past it. It wasn't my tragedy anymore. Then came the flying monkeys. First was Lacey, Maya's best friend. She called me while I was in my workshop sanding the edge of a maple serving board. "Leo," she said, sweet and fake. "Hi, it's been a while." "Hi, Lacey. I'm just calling as a friend to you both," she began. "I know what Maya did was unforgivable, but she's really in a bad way." I kept sanding. Swish, swish. "That guy, Jake," she said, "he was a monster. He maxed out her credit card. He gave her a black eye before he got arrested." She said it fast, like she was trying a key in a lock, hoping it would open my sympathy. My face didn't change. "She's learned her lesson," Lacey said. "A really hard one. If you just heard her out, it might help her heal. She still loves you." I stopped sanding and ran my fingers over the smooth wood. "I appreciate you reaching out," I said, "but my decision is final. I hope she finds support from someone else." There was a pause. "You're really that cold," Lacey said, voice turning sharp. "I'm that resolved," I corrected. "Take care." Then a voicemail from Maya's sister, Chelsea. Her tone was angry, like I was being rude by having boundaries. "Leo, it's Chelsea. She messed up, okay? People make mistakes. But you abandoning her when she's at her lowest, that's not the man I thought you were." I deleted the message. The man she thought I was, the calm sponge who soaked up their mess, was a character they liked. Not a person they respected. Ben, out of curiosity one night, pulled up Jake's public court records. Violent charges from the bar fight. A previous warrant for violating a restraining order from another ex. Jake wasn't a surprise. He was a pattern. Maya didn't trade up for excitement. She stepped off stable ground onto a fault line. Then my phone rang with a local number. I let it go to voicemail. When I listened an hour later, it was Maya, not the soft apology voice. This one was raw and furious, slurred by tears or alcohol. "You know what, Leo," she said. "Fine, you win. You're the perfect stoic martyr. I'm the villain, I get it, but you were never capable of real love. Real love forgives, real love fights. You just leave, you're a ghost." She kept going, words tumbling out. "I lost everything, everything. And you can't even pick up the phone to tell me I got what I deserved. You're a coward, a cold, heartless coward." The message ended with a crash, something thrown, then sobbing, then the dial tone. I saved the voicemail, not because I missed her, because it was evidence. Once her remorse failed to get a reaction, the mask came off. The anger of someone who thinks their consequences are someone else's job to soften. That was her truth the second time. The first was her line in the bedroom, the one that ended it. I believed her both times. That weekend I finished the maple serving board. I oiled it until the grain glowed. Ben came over and I grilled steaks. We ate off something I made with my own hands. Sitting on the small balcony of my sublet, city lights blinking, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not victory, not revenge, peace. 6 months to the day after I walked out, I was sitting at a coffee shop near my new office. The sublet was gone. I had leased a modern apartment with a view of the river. Space for a real workshop. The silence there belonged to me, filled with music when I wanted it and quiet when I didn't. Ben was running late, so I ordered a coffee and scrolled through plans for a custom bookcase on my phone. I was at peace, not the empty quiet of the hotel room. A solid, earned calm. The bell over the door jingled. I glanced up without thinking. It was Maya. She stood just inside the doorway, framed by gray afternoon light. She looked smaller, thinner. Her coat hung on her like it didn't fit right. Her shoulders were hunched like she was bracing for weather. Her eyes scanned the room, then landed on me. Her face changed fast. Shock, hope, shame, calculation. I watched it all like I was observing a stranger. I felt nothing. No pull, no heat, no cold, just mild curiosity about what she would do. She walked toward my table by the window. There was no casual way to do it. It was direct. "Leo," she said. Her voice sounded rough, like she hadn't used it much. I gave one slow nod. "Maya." She flinched at how neutral it was. "You look really good," she said. It was true. Running and working with my hands had changed me. I looked rested. "Thank you," I said, like she had complimented a stranger's shirt. She gestured to the empty chair across from me. "Can I?" "I'm waiting for a friend," I said. "Not yes, not no, just a fact." "Just for a second," she said. "Please." The please sounded brittle, like it would shatter if I touched it. I inclined my head slightly. She sat on the edge of the chair like a bird ready to fly. Her hands twisted a napkin from the dispenser. She looked at my coffee cup, my hands, the window, anywhere but my eyes. "I don't even know where to start," she whispered. "Everything fell apart. Everything. What I said to you that night, it was the worst thing I've ever said. It wasn't true. I was trying to hurt you because I felt guilty. I was a coward." I listened. I didn't nod. I didn't comfort her. I didn't interrupt. Some people think silence is cruelty. Sometimes it's just clarity. "Jake," she said quickly. "He was a con man, an abuser. He took money. He hit me. He's in jail now, I think for a long time." She watched my face for a crack, a reaction. The old Leo, there was none. "And I'm alone," she said, voice breaking. "I'm in therapy now, really doing the work. I am." Tears filled her eyes. "I've replayed that night 1,000 times, she said. "I threw away the best thing I ever had because I was bored and stupid and he gave me cheap attention. I'm sorry, not just for cheating, for the words, for making you feel like you were nothing, you were everything." The barista called my name. I stood, picked up my coffee and came back to the table. I didn't ask if she wanted anything. I took a slow sip. It grounded me in the present. Maya swallowed hard. "Is there any chance? Even just coffee sometime, just to talk. If you hate me forever, I get it. But maybe we could be civil. I'll take anything. Just a chance to show you I'm not that person anymore." This was her final play. Full vulnerability, full confession, promise of change. It might have worked on the version of me who still believed love meant absorbing pain until you disappeared. I set my cup down gently. I looked at her, really looked, and saw a sad woman standing in the smoke of a fire she started. "You told me the truth that night," I said, voice low and even. "You didn't care enough. That wasn't you trying to be cruel. That was you being honest." She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue. I kept going steady. "That truth gave me the clarity I needed to leave. It was the only gift you gave me at the end." Her face collapsed, like the hope was a candle someone blew out. "I'm not saying this to punish you," I added. "But that same truth means I don't care enough to revisit this. There's nothing for us to build from. There's only ash." She stared at me, devastated. "So that's it. You don't feel anything." I didn't hesitate. "I feel peace," I said. That was the most honest thing I could give her. At that moment, Ben walked in and spotted me. He waved, then noticed Maya and kept his expression neutral. He came over, eyebrows raised slightly in a silent question. I gave him a small, real smile. One Maya hadn't seen in years. Then I looked back at her. "My friend is here," I said. "I have to go. Take care of yourself, Maya." Not dramatic, not cruel, just final. I stood, picked up my coffee, and walked to Ben. Behind me, I heard the scrape of her chair and a choked sound. I didn't turn. Ben put a hand on my shoulder as we stepped outside into the crisp afternoon air. "You good?" he asked. "Never better," I said, and I meant it. We walked away, and I didn't wonder what she was doing. I didn't feel her eyes on my back. I was already gone. The man she was begging for didn't exist anymore. He walked out one night and left behind a life that didn't fit him. In his place was someone quieter, someone who built peace the slow way, one calm day at a time. Before we end, here are a few lessons I took from this. Lesson 1: when someone cheats and then blames your personality for it, they are trying to avoid responsibility, not fix the relationship. Lesson 2: closure is not a conversation you owe someone. Sometimes closure is simply leaving and not reopening the door. Lesson 3: calm is not weakness. Silence can be a boundary, especially when a person is trying to pull you into a fight they can control. Lesson 4: people who say real love forgives often mean real love lets me escape consequences. Lesson 5: A clean break can feel cold, but it can also be the kindest thing you do for your future self. What would you have done if you came home and saw those wine glasses and that jacket? Would you have confronted them right away, or would you have handled it the way Leo did? And if someone told you, "I didn't care enough not to," could you ever come back from that? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next story.